After a short break, I invite you to a review of issue 30 of White Dwarf. As you can see, with the new layout. It has a new layout of the front cover. Apart from that, there's no other difference, the same amount of pages and so on. As you know, this issue from 23rd of August is almost entirely dedicated to the new amazingly expensive model of Nagash for Warhammer Fantasy. So yes, it's 90% Nagash everywhere. Keep on watching. Right, in front of us we've got cover of issue 30, and as I mentioned before, we've got the new kind of a different layout. I'm not sure if it's a sort of a preview of something new to come, an advent of some more changes to White Dwarf. As I mentioned, it's supposed to merge with Warhammer Visions. Nevertheless, it is different. Maybe it's because this Nagash, they wanted to show how big this model is, so they wanted to like the full length of the front page. And that might be the only reason, and I'm just looking for some deeper meaning that's not there. Anyway, we've got the end times, as you can see over here. The end times, the new supplement for Warhammer Fantasy Battle that apparently changes a lot in the game. And as you can see on the first few pages, we've got Nagash, Supreme Lord of the Undead, the amazing model that has been created by Martin Footit, and we've got some background for it and why it has taken them so long to upgrade this model. Apparently it's been 20 years since the last release of this model, which was probably that big. Anywho, more on the model, painting of it, assembly, and the rules later in the issue. No, you're not mistaken, it's a different page. On this page we've got Nagash in a different combination. In the previous one we had him with some kind of staff, ornamental staff, and a spellbook in his hands. On this one we've got him with a kind of a ghostly appearing hand and a huge blade that also appears as a ghost's face, and so on. We've got more detailed shots of the model, and as I said, it is going to take up like 90% of this issue. Well, I almost forgot about the price of the model. The model will cost us £65, 85 euros, or if you live in USA, $105. The next thing being released this week is the Nagash. Apart from the model, you need the rules to play with it. I mean, obviously you can use the rules that are included in the issue, so you only have to pay £12 for the White Dwarf if you make it, or you can buy the sort of a good-looking release of its rules. We've got two books. One, Tom 1, Book 1. That contains all the background stories, all the history of Nagash, and apparently the storyline of Warhammer the Old World has been pushed forward. That's what I heard, and that's the kind of rumor. I don't know personally anyone who has seen this book and read this book, but apparently it has moved the storyline forward. The other book, the thinner one, contains the rules. The rules not only for Nagash but also for the units, how to use and utilize Nagash in an army of undead, and how to play with these armies, and apparently some scenarios, some campaign bits, and so on and so on. This book will cost us £50, 65 euros, or again, if you live in the USA, $85. As with every Games Workshop release, we also have a limited edition of something. This time it's the Nagash limited edition that also brings you the books that you receive in a normal edition, but in a funny, cool-looking slipcase with a magnetic lock. Also, it contains some 5 artworks, and it's double the price. The Warhammer Nagash limited edition is £100, 130 euros, or $165 US dollars, and it's only limited to 750 copies. With the Lord of Undead, we also receive a new Lore of Undeath. There are 7 cards, large format cards that you can use in your games, and these cards will cost you £4.50, 6 euros, or $7.50 if you live in USA, obviously. To continue the release line of Nagash related models and bits, we've got Return of Nagash, top right over here, written by Mike Lee. It's a 450 almost pages hardback copy of a novel, and this book will be £20, 25 euros, or $30 USA dollars. And the last but not the least, the book that is being released this week is The Talon of Horus. It's a little 40k bit in this Warhammer, in this White Dwarf issue. The Talon of Horus will cost us £40, 50 euros, and $65. And it's obviously written by Aaron Dembski-Bowden. It's also hardback, and it has 400 pages. The second Warhammer 40k related news in this White Dwarf is the Nemesis Vanguard. As you can see, it's a fully fledged Grey Knight army. You've got yourself a Land Raider, you've got yourself a Dread Knight, plenty of Grey Knights and Grey Knight Terminators, and a Grey Knight Terminator Lord of some sort, if I can see correctly. This set will cost you £130, 165 euros, and $215 US dollars. So the End Times, the new supplement for Warhammer Fantasy. I'm not a big fan of Warhammer Fantasy anymore. I stopped playing it a while ago, so I'm not really up to date with all the things happening in Warhammer Fantasy. I know that there's like a 8th or 7th or 6th or 9th edition coming. I'm not sure which one, probably 9th edition coming. But this new rule set changes a lot of stuff. Firstly, it introduces the new lore of Undead to all the lores existing in Warhammer Fantasy. Secondly, it allows you to bring more lords and heroes to your army. Apparently, something up to 50% of lords and heroes. And additionally, it brings something that I'm not sure if it existed in Warhammer Fantasy. It's basically bringing up basically demonology for Warhammer Fantasy. Demonology from Warhammer 40k. Something that allows your heroes, your wizards, to summon other units. So you can basically start your army with 2000 points, play against 2000 points, and end up with having like 4000 points. So that's a huge game changer. It is a game changer in Warhammer 40k. Next up, we've got the rules for Nagash, the Supreme Lord of the Undead. As I mentioned just a second ago, I'm not really sure what these stats mean, but I know for sure that if a model has movement 6, weapon skill 7, ballistic skill 7, strength 7, toughness 7 wounds, and initiative 6 and 6 attacks, and leadership 10 in Warhammer 40k or Warhammer Fantasy, it means business. Obviously, the cost of this model in points, the 1000 points, really actually represents its cost. Also, Nagash is the wizard of 5th level, and he sports plenty of magic items and magic spells and magic special rules. I'm gonna give you the rules, but probably they're not gonna tell you much. Magic items: he has got Alakanesh, the Staff of Power. He has Morricaine, the Black Armor, that grants him 4+ armor save and 4+ ward save. The 9 books of Nagash, and Zephet Neptar, or the Mortis Blade, something that gives you multiple wounds, D3 wounds, and +1 strength. Also, he has plenty of special rules like Large Terror and Undead, and Orc Necromancer, Death Magic Incarnate, and Supreme Lord of the Undead, obviously, as his title reads. So this model is full packed with rules and special items, and that's why you pay so much money for the model and 1000 points for the model in the game. Again, as it's customary for White Dwarf to have a new model released, presented in the battle report on next couple of pages. This time we've got Nagash against a couple of units against the huge army of the Blazing Hordes of Sethra, Imperishable or something. So Tomb Kings basically. So we've got the battle report, and this time they did the battle report differently. They presented the armies over here. Also, they show us the whole table, and they like centerpieces and like little spots. The units are almost in the old style of White Dwarf presented over here. So battle report is battle report. I'm not going to go into details. You need to read it yourself and have a look at all the things happening in there. but one thing I wanted to draw your attention to is the size of this model. Look at those cavalry bases over here and the size of this base and the model itself on the table. It's huge. So I guess it's not going to come as a surprise to you that we've got paint splatter fully dedicated to Nagash and painting of its armor and its little tiny undeady bits. When it comes to Warhammer 40k, there's not much that can surprise us, because you know there are only several ways you can paint armor on the level that it's presented, obviously in paint splatter. This time we can see that a couple cool techniques to paint different bits of this model. So I strongly advise you, even if you are a sort of experienced painter, to have a look at those, and maybe you'll draw some cool tips and tricks for your painting skills. In designer notes, we've got Martin Footed giving us some in-depth view on why he designed this model this way and not the other. We've got a concept art of the model and a couple of focus points on the model itself. So if you're interested in bits like that, have a read through this article. And the week in My Dwarf is constructed a bit differently this week. We've got the assembly of Nagash, which doesn't really happen in the week in My Dwarf, if I'm not mistaken. Nevertheless, we've got the idea to presented to put this model together in and paint this model in 5 substages. So we can see the spirits, the main body, the head, the blade, and the head bit of some sort. And on the last few pages, we've got Warhammer Visions, that it's coming next week, and it's coming for Space Wolves. It's going to be filled with Space Wolf pictures and others, obviously. And we've got what's coming in issue 31. This time we're going to have Nagash's lieutenants ride forth, which means probably that lesser wizards of some sort are coming to White Dwarf issue 31. Also, we're going to have a brief history of the Undead and using the new lore of Undead, how to use it, how to make the most of it, and so on and so on. And as I mentioned before, we've got the ruined parting shot, ruined by the little barcode on the bottom left. Nevertheless, the picture is amazing, the model looks stunning, and it's huge. The model is actually humongous. I really love the model. I really wish I played Fantasy, and I really wish I could tell my wife that I really need this model, but I don't, and I won't buy it. So you guys do it for me and paint it beautifully, okay? So that's it for the review of issue 30 of White Dwarf. And just one little tiny thing that I noticed at the very end of reviewing this issue is that our parting shots have been ruined by the barcodes on the end. You can't actually use those beautiful pictures of the models. Just to give you a reference, in previous issues the tiny bit barcode was over here, not at the end, and the parting shot was almost, intact. Anyway, it's just a minor detail, so don't worry about it. And I invite you to the review of issue 31 next week, in a week's time. In the meantime, follow my blog for the new previews of the new issue, maybe some rumors, maybe some other interesting stuff, and some vlogs that I decided to do from time to time to keep you up to date what I'm doing. So see you next week. Take a good care. Bye.